So hello everyone. Today is Saturday, August 8th, 2020. Welcome to our Contract Trust Conference call. We are not accountants, tax professionals, lawyers, or currency dealers. We are not rendering legal, tax, accounting, or other professional advice. Should you require those, you should retain competent and from a professional in that field. And thank you for joining us today. My name is Carol Werelius, and my associate Jim Knox and I have these calls every second and fourth Saturday of the month. These calls are recorded and available on our website, www.indicatorinformation.com, iqdcalls.com, and YouTube. As we get closer and closer to our expected event, we thought this would be a good time about our common law contract trust and why we think it is the best vehicle for you to protect your assets. We do appreciate your questions. If you have any, please *6 to raise your hand. Most of us have heard that we must have a trust or other entity in which to exchange our currencies. Many of us are aware of trusts offered by other companies, as well as LLCs, corporations, tax-free corporations, etc. We have also heard that if you do not have a trust or other entity, they will provide a temporary skeleton trust for you. A skeleton trust is not a good idea. Even though it is temporary, the bank will most likely become your partner. And I think most of you would agree with me that that is not what you want to do. All those other entities I mentioned are statutory law, meaning they are created by local jurisdictions, typically state governments. Statutory law consists of millions of laws. They change every year and are so numerous and complicated that they require well-paid lawyers to keep up with them. They have created a whole industry of lawyers that parasite off society because of it. Such laws are generally designed to benefit the few at the expense of the many. The lawyers, the politicians, the big corporations, and the cabal's favored interest. Entities set up under statutory law are subject to those millions of laws that require expensive and even complicated legal expertise to defend them. As I mentioned, our trusts are common law. And some people think common law is no longer in the U.S. It's been around for millions of years and will continue to be around for millions of years. It rarely changes. It's basically don't lie, don't steal, don't violate the rights of others. Is the closest thing to natural law, or universal law, that is active affairs. It is still the underlying authorities and is now returning in force. Common law is alive and well in the U.S. As I understand it, this global reset is about more than the money. If, as we've heard, Nisera and Jacera are announced afterwards, we will once again flourish under common law. As currency changers, we should not be worried about setting up statutory law entities. We'll begin to the restored republic and common law, Sarah's announcement.
Carol?
Yes?
Carol,
yes?
Hold on.
Yeah?
I don't know if it's my phone that you're breaking up on. Could you open Q&A and ask somebody if you're breaking up on their end too? If so, we've got a problem.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Okay, anybody who's having a problem hearing me, just hit *6, please, and let me know. And nothing's happening here, Jim.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's just my phone then. Again, this is my crappy equipment.
Oh, wait, hang on. Let me ask Gary. Hey, Gary, are you having a problem hearing me?
Hi, Carol. This is Gary. Yes, you are breaking up a bit.
Okay. All right. Maybe you have to try another phone. Actually, Cynthia, are you breaking up? Am I breaking up?
You were breaking up for me a little bit. You're better now.
Oh. Well, maybe I'll just leave you guys. Okay. Anyway, you're Q&A, so if anybody has a problem, just *6 and let me know, and we'll do something. All right. Thank you.
Well, maybe get a little closer to the microphone too.
I got a better idea. Turn the volume up. That would help. Because the phone is the same place it always is every 2 weeks. So, is this any better?
Yeah.
Jim, is
I don't know. I hear a lot.
Any better?
Yeah, it's a little bit better. Give it a shot.
Well, I just moved the. Okay, all right. So to get back to where trusts and legal instruments that are created under common law have far greater influence than statutory entities. They are subject to the common law and thus are sovereign and immune from the ever-changing statutory laws. They can go on generation after generation, well into the golden age, flourish because they're based on what is time. The common law trust on which ours is based has been adjudicated by the Ninth Circuit in the U.S. versus Dahlstrom in 1983, in which the government's own expert, Carol K. Krogh, tested the trust organizations created by the defendants were valid legal entities. Indicator information is licensed use the form and method protected by the defendants of the above cited case. Also, on occasion, the courts of common law trust or UBOs, unincorporated business organizations, contractual companies. An explanation of their function can be found in Smith v. Anderson, Chancery Division 247 in 1880. The Smith decision established the validity and viability of these contractual companies under the English common law jurisdiction beginning in 1880. The Smith decision has never been reversed, nor has its importance been nullified through the passing of negating statutes in the UK or in any other common law jurisdiction anywhere in the world. Okay, we do have a couple of comments here.
Oh, you're still breaking up.
Okay, that's what I kind of area code 828. Is that why you're calling? Because I'm breaking up.
Yeah, Carol. Some of the syllables are dropping off of some of your words. I can pretty much understand what you're saying, but it's some of it's dropping out.
I'll call back from my cell phone. So Jim, why don't you go ahead and take over for a minute? We're in number 3.
Yep. Okay, I can handle that.
All right.
One of the biggest advantages of our trust is that you are allowed to be your own trustee. This means that there is no one between you and your money. You retain 100% control of the assets in the trust. There are a couple of major players in our trust. The first is the person we call the creator. This common law trusts are actually contracts in trust format. Since one cannot contract with oneself, we use a third party to facilitate it. The person is the creator. The first task is to initiate the creation of the trust. The second person is the one exchanging their assets, in this case, the currency, into the trust. This would be you and your spouse if you have one. The creator's second task is to appoint the first trustee. Considering that you were smart enough to buy this currency and smart enough to put it into the trust, who do you think he or she will choose to be the most likely candidate for the first trustee? The obvious choice would be you. Once the creator has completed his or her 2 tasks, initiating the trust and appointing the first trustee, he or she is released from all future responsibilities, duties, authority, or liability regarding the trust organization. You as a first trustee are then able to appoint your spouse as a second trustee. You and your second trustee can appoint your successor trustees, often your adult children.
I'm back, Jim.
Oh, welcome back. You want to give it a shot, see if it's cleaned up?
Sure,
We're on number 5.
I've only got a few more things here anyway. So we create your personalized trust and send you the whole package to sign. A sticky note is attached wherever signature is needed, and the name is also typed under the signature line. You and the creator must sign a few pages in front of a notary, and the trust is then a valid legal entity. Your trust package includes entry to our members-only website. We do suggest you keep minutes of your actions so your future trustees will know what you did and why you did it. Before we go on to the next one, we've got one more caller. No, that was from earlier. And so, Jim, you want to talk about the website?
Yes, I do. Okay, we have been saying we're going to move this website for probably a month and a half. Well, it's in process right now. We finally found a good company. In fact, it's in Vancouver, Washington, so it's fairly local. And since I've been kind of disabled and taking over the rest of the duties here, I got a little behind the schedule. And so I've hired a tech that I've known for 25 years to come in and help me move it. So her name's Esther. She is diligently working with the company. It'll be migrating this next couple days. We'll still stay on the old server while we get the new server set up and do all of our testing to make sure it's going to work. And then some night around midnight, we'll push the magic button, and we'll be on the new server. Now, what we did is we got our own computer in a server farm. And the company we're using is ODI Tech, giving them a plug, ODI Tech in Vancouver, Washington. Joey has been just phenomenal working with me. So there's a plug. So we're anxious to get that moved, and then after that happens, I'm going to bring on a full-time, well, part-time probably initially, tech person to start going through and adding more content. We're going to revitalize the site a little bit. We're going to bring it up to speed. We're going to set it up to where you can search either by category or by keyword to find those things you need. For an example, if you want the end-of-year minute, type it in there and it'll pop up. So those are our goals. That's what we plan on doing. It shouldn't take us long to get that set up. I would say that within the next 30 days, you'll see a huge change in the content that we have available to put on there is in the thousands of pages, literally, folks, in the thousands of pages. And that's why we never put it on, because we have no way of categorizing it and making it a searchable database, and that's what we're changing. So what we will do is we'll still continue with having a note at the top every time we make a change and add something so we can go down and see what's new. Now, since it's members-only website, we're going to put very little information, especially post-RV, on the front because we will not be taking any new clients. That's it. We're done. We're closing the doors, so to speak. But we will be around for a few years with the website, and we'll be available. I got an interesting call from somebody yesterday. I won't mention names. Protect the innocent, And he says, am I or Carol going to be around to where, they could call and have a one-on-one lengthy discussion on exactly how to use and how to make the trust work for him and, personalize this all stuff. He says, well, no, not really, because we're going to retire. But then it brought up a thought, and Carol and I talked about this a while back about doing some podcasting, and I happen to own all the equipment to do that. So in the next few days, I'm going to get that all finished up and set up, and then I'm going to call certain people and invite them to call me, and we'll have an open discussion about how they want to run the trust. In other words, they'll ask me how to do it. I'll give them my experience and my opinion. Remember, now I'm not licensed to do some of this stuff, so I have to give you my opinion and show you how I do it. And that will be a podcast. Of course, I'll not discuss the person's name or phone number on the podcast if they participate. And we'll put that up there. I want them in 30-minute increments. Carol?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Jim, and we'll both be available to do that.
Okay, so I thought you said something. That's why I stopped. So when we get the podcasting set up, it'll be searchable. And I have not loaded all 107, folks, 107 of these calls. Can you believe that? We have this day's 107.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah, but we'll have them all on the website. The reason we didn't put them on our website, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy them onto our server so they're embedded in our server, so if they go off the internet some other place, we'll always have them. But we didn't do that because the old server just wouldn't handle it. Well, the new company will, as we bought a lot of bandwidth. And it ain't cheap, folks. We're running the Rolls-Royce type situation here. We got the best. We know we have to get the best now. So that's where we're at. And then the podcasting should be a lot of fun because each one will be about a half hour long, and it'll be by we'll try and have each customer or each person that participates go down one set path. And then what we'll do is we'll put keywords, searchable keywords, in those podcasts, and they will work in the website. Then you go to podcasts, and then you use search keywords, and it'll show you each podcast that where we discuss that particular item, and you can listen to those as you need to. So the unique thing about this is after we finally get through all of this, and I'm out traveling doing what I want to do, I can do a podcast while I'm on the road. My equipment is also in my laptop. So I can do a podcast and drop it on the website in just a matter of a couple hours. I have all of the editing equipment for that. I'm very good at editing audio and video, besides building websites. And so we don't have to go outside for that technology or that expertise. I can do it all. And that's what I want to do. That's how I want to contribute in the future. Yes, we'll be able to take some calls from time to time. But remember, folks, we're going to retire here. We'll give you about 6 months to get everything wrapped up, and then we're done. Now, I'll always be available. you just got to catch me on a phone. And then, like I said last time, almost a month ago, I guess, I plan on doing a little cruising around the country and finding some of our Dinarian friends and our clients and have a meeting. And I'm buying a motorhome. That's one of the things I do. I'm not going to buy a house. I'm buying a motorhome, and I'm going to go travel to figure out where I want to buy a house. Well, I have no idea where I want to go to. I just want to get out of Oregon. I don't know if you people follow what's going on here in Portland, but this governor is just, man, what a turd. I don't want to go down that road. So that's what I wanted to add about the website. So it's going to change on the look a little bit too. So you want to open up for questions?
Yeah, well, Q&A, go for it, folks. Star 6 to raise your hand, and we will answer your questions as they come in. And okay, my name just went away, now it's back. Okay, we have a call, Jim. Hang on a second here.
And by the way, your phone's perfect now.
Oh, good, thank you. As I'm on my cell phone now. Wireless caller, area code 828.
All right, I'll get it started. So these are business trusts, and you have said that when you buy a home or multiple homes, you put it in a trust. So what in the world is the business of owning a home? How does it function as a business? How does it qualify as a business just owning a home?
You don't. You put it in a real estate trust, which we have. We have an automobile trust. We have a real estate trust. We have a management trust. We have a charitable trust. And then we have the business trust. So the business trust is the main trust. That's what the Dahlstrom Trust was, the business trust.
Okay.
And then we took the management trust as simply putting certain contracts together on the standard trust. It's a little bit different, but not much. But you have all the contracts tying in your mother-lode trust, your business trust, other business trust, your automobile trust, your vehicle trust, and your charitable trust, or whatever. All of those can be linked into that one to manage the money. The real estate trust is a hybrid trust based on what we do with the business trust, but then we had to bring in a lot of statutory stuff because it's real estate and the state government has its paws in it just a little bit, but not much. And then same with the automobile trust because you got to comply with certain things. So we've got those all done. They work really, really well. And so your house would be in a real estate trust that then contracts to a management trust, most likely, which would manage all the money, and that would take care of that. Now remember, the whole idea of having a management trust is not to have an EI number, employee identification number, attached to every trust because then you're opening yourself up to the IRS and everything else. So what you want to do is go as private as possible and have one entity take care of the money. The contract between the real estate trust and the management trust dictates what the management trust does for you. Pays your property taxes, pays your whatever. It fixes things. It puts appliances in the house. It's whatever's necessary. Whatever you normally do to pay for things at your house, this will do it. So that's how this thing is designed. Does that kind of answer your question?
It absolutely does. That's great, and I appreciate it. I have two trusts. One is going to be the mother-lode trust. The other one, can the other one, the way it's written right now, be the management trust, or does it have to be tweaked?
It has to be tweaked in as much. I got to write the contracts for you and send them to you.
Okay.
And they're almost, when I say I got to write them, I got to go find your trust. I got to look at all the things in the trust, and I got to have the right names of the trusts. I have to have the right numbers, this, that, and everything. And then we build this. It's about 4 or 5 different contractual adjustments, and then it works. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Hopefully, in the near future, I'll have a templated system set up where you can make those modifications or download those contracts to be able to go from trust to trust. And that's my goal because I don't want to do it. After
it will make everybody's life a lot easier.
Yeah. In post-RV, we're going to only sell additional trusts to our existing customers and those that we've got in the queue ready to go forward with us. And so it'll be a closed loop. And we will add so much material to the website that you will probably not need to talk to us too much after the fact, because you'll be fully trained. You can go back and read it and read it and read it and read it, or listen to it, whichever the case may be, until you really internalize that. And then if there's a confusion, you can always give us a call.
Okay.
That's our goal.
Great. Thank you. I think you probably answered this in your just recent talk there, which was 6 months from now, you said you're going to be traveling and whatever. I'm probably going to need more trusts. Will those be available from somebody there?
Oh, yes. Yes, we have a crew that we're training right now. And as a matter of fact, we went through and did some tweaking to our templating because we had one that went out was just not done right. And we got it back and fixed it. Not a big deal. The people are very understanding because we're teaching these people. But we figured out a way to make it almost bulletproof. And so we started that this week. And all of our people are being worked and trained by me and Carol. And fortunately, I have 3 of the people that we're training right here in Oregon. So I can get to see them. In fact, I have 2 young men that are working for me, and they come here to my place, my residence, and have been trained here with me. And they only live about 35 miles from me, so they can come back and forth. And the other one is Stephen. He lives up in Hillsboro, and he's a great guy. We like him. He's fun. And him and his wife are just a hoot. You really like them when you get to know them. They're just a hoot. And I'll go back up and see them again 2 or 3 more times and make sure we got everything done there. And then we've got people in Arizona, and I think we have somebody we're working with right now on the East Coast. And Carol's got a couple of people in Seattle, Seattle area, if they don't burn it down. And
that would be Portland.
Yeah, really. So we've got quite a few people all set up and ready to go, fully trained, got all the templates in their computers, know how to get the EI numbers, and so on and so forth. They can't answer questions like Carol and I can because they have no experience in that. They're just experienced in actually physically producing the documentation. You could ask some questions on that, but they won't have a clue about, how to do real estate, how to do the contract, how do you link this, how do you do that. They don't have any idea, other than their own personal trust. But again, they all agreed not to answer any questions because they're not really experienced. And they did sign non-disclosure agreements with us, and they do have the DoD-7 compliant best script encryption system on each one of their computers, and all of the clients and all of our forms are within that container, which is DoD, Department of Defense 7, which is the highest you can get as a civilian, compliant. So everybody's information, no matter where it's at, is in those containers, and it cannot be breached. The 256,000 character algorithm created the path, what they call the path, and that takes a 16-digit password to open it up. So it's pretty intense.
Yes,
so we take your privacy very, very serious. So I just want to make sure everybody knew that. Just because we got people that are working for us doesn't mean they're not fully complying with the way we do our business. So, Carol, any questions?
Do you have any other questions?
That does it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right.
You're welcome. Before we get on to the next caller, one of the things that has always been our goal is to educate people. So, yes, we have a wonderful trust. There's no question about that. But if we just sold you a trust and didn't give you any of the legal background, didn't give you how to operate, didn't give you this, what is the point of having this trust? So long before Jim and I hooked up again, when my husband and I first started this business in 1992, we created a series of books, which are now on the website. And my husband's comment at the time was, we can't give somebody the key to this F-16 without giving them the user's manual. So with that in mind, with what we've tried to do to educate and with this fabulous website that Jim has put together, our goal is to keep you educated, for you to be able to find things on your own without having to call us every time. And, we enjoy talking to you, don't get us wrong, but we are kind of busy, as you might understand. So the website is there for your use. absolutely for your use. Take advantage of it. And some folks have complained that, well, I don't get the emails from your calls anymore. Well, Jim has looked up the name on the roster, and some of these same people have deleted themselves, Jim? They've unsubscribed. They've unsubscribed to our emails, and then they complain that they're not getting our emails. So just a little heads up, folks. We are aware of what's going on. Anyway, Jim, you have anything to add to that, or should we just go to the next question?
I'll add a little bit more to that. Okay. So I get calls all the time and emails. I can't get in the website. I can't get in the website. I can't get in the website. And I go look, and I log in exactly what I sent them. I sent them, they have their password, they have their username. I can log in perfectly. They can't log in. I did a little investigation and found out some of these people are using iPads, and there's no program, evidently, that they're willing to put on there to save the password. And they try and retype this password, and they can never get it right. And I've got a couple of people that have complained considerably that, I have my favorite password. And I asked one, my puppy is brown. Well, that's not a password. That's a phrase anybody can try to figure out. So, passwords are designed to prevent people from getting into things you don't want them to get into. And we've been hacked 3 times by people using simple, stupid passwords. We can't afford that again. It cost me almost $3,000 out of my pocket for you folks to get this website back up last time. And that's why I insisted on going really strong passwords. So if you don't get RoboForm or some other compliant program where you can store your passwords, it's not my problem. So just let you know that we're about the end of our rope with that stuff.
Yeah. And, if that's the case, folks, what I did long before Jim ever told me about RoboForm, I set up an Excel spreadsheet with the URL, my username, and my password. So every time I needed to go to something, I could at least look at the spreadsheet. It's not nearly as convenient as RoboForm, but it works. So those of you that may have these issues, like Jim was talking about with iPads, do it a different way. You need to write it down somewhere. You don't want to write it down, stick it on a piece of paper somewhere. Use a Word file or an Excel file, but you can do it. You can do it.
And then cut and paste, or not cut, copy and paste it into the. Yeah. And the other thing, I want to be perfectly clear, people. We promote RoboForm. We do not get paid anything to promote RoboForm. I mean, we're not into making money off of that. This is just a suggestion. And I use MailWasher Pro, which allows me to see all my email on the server before, and I can even read it on the server before I ever bring it to my computer. So I get to get rid of all those little trashy emails, these advertisements. I get them off of my server, and then the remainder, when it's clean and I like it, then I bring it to my computer at that point. I have never been breached. 11 years I've never been breached using MailWasher Pro because I know exactly what I'm bringing in. Again, we don't make money on this stuff. So those are the 2 tools.
That goes for our mailbox referrals as well. We don't make money off them, but we have negotiated rates for you. So, whatever we try to make it as easy as we can.
Right. And go ahead. Let's find out the next questions. We're already a half an hour into our show.
I know. Okay, Gary, you're up.
Hey, Jim, this is Gary. I forgot what I was going to ask, but I think I was going to comment. Yeah, I think I was going to comment on your podcast idea. I like that. I'd love to participate in that.
Perfect. I'll be giving you guys a call here. Let me get it set up. It'll probably be about a week to 10 days. I don't think much more than that unless we have to go running around getting ourselves all rich and stuff like that.
Yeah, well,
if that happens,
that's cool.
And but yeah, we'll do that, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Carol.
Bye-bye. Okay, Sandy, how are you doing today?
Oh, doing great. Let me ask you if as soon as this RV, you're going to get a lot of people wanting to get their management trust and their real estate trust. So you've got it all set up. So all we have to do is go into the to the website and just enter the information, or should we get that filled out ahead of time?
No, wait until we get it all done, until you're ready to go, because we've got enough people. Let's give you an example. Carol and I can do a trust from beginning to end in less than an hour. You know, there's a lot of work putting one together. It's not like it takes 10 minutes. No, it's well over an hour. But our trainees can do it in about an hour and a half. Well, we pay them so well, and I won't tell you how much, but we pay them so well that they're willing to sit here 12, 14 hours a day banging out trusts. They can probably do 5 to 7 a day easily. And we're going to have at least, I'd say, 8 people, maybe 10 here shortly finished up and trained. So if they can do 8, that's 80 trusts a day. All right? And if they want to work 5 days a week, that's 400 trusts a week we can pump out. So we know we can keep up with it. It may take 2 weeks to get your trust, or 3. I don't think so, but it could. But first in, first out. So just wait until we get everything set up. There's no sense putting all that material in now because it's just going to sit someplace. And as busy as we are right now, we may forget it's there. I wish I could tell you how busy we are. You probably wouldn't understand it. Well, we are going through a lot right now between the website and training and Jay's health and my health and Carol's health. It's like, what are we doing here? We need a vacation.
It's kind of overwhelming sometimes, that is for sure. Yes. But, Jim, why don't you mention, since Sandy asked the question, why don't you talk about the 3i Trust app website?
All right. What we've done is we've separated the websites out. The information website is indicator information. 3iTrustApp.com is where all of the applications are at. Now, if you go look in the front of the website and you go down to where it has all the how much it costs, there's a big old link there at the bottom. Let me just pull up and see what it says exactly. I typed it, but I can't remember what it said. Out of all the things I've lost or misplaced in my life, I miss my mind the most. Yeah, right below the where it says pricing effect, it says complete your application at 3iTrustApp.com, and it's huge print, and it's a hyperlink. You just click on it, and it takes you right over to 3i Trust app, and there it defaults to the standard trust. And then you got a choice of the standard trust, the management trust, the real estate trust, automobile or equipment trust, or I should say vehicle or vessel trust, the charitable trust, and we have also change order, how to log in at III, how to register at III, instructions to use indicator information website. Now, one of the other things we've had recently, people wanted some changes, and they call us and want us to do things, and we don't have a problem with that. But you know what? We really would prefer the people use the change order deal and send it to us, and if we have questions, we can get a hold of you. Because it's in the computer. We can refer back to the thing. Once we look at this change order, we can download it, but it always stays in our computer system, so it's there forever. So we can refer back to it. So if you use the change order, it's in the queue, and somebody's going to grab that and respond. For an example, in the change order, it asks you your basic requester name of contract, trust, email, and phone. What type of change you're requesting? Certificate beneficial interest, successor trustee change, copy of abstract, change of abstract, reason for change, priority, low, medium, high, and critical. Please describe in detail the change being requested. Well, if all of a sudden somebody that you need to, like, let's say a successor trustee can't work for you anymore, can't be your successor. Well, that's kind of critical. So you'd put in here, successor trustee change minute, and then you'd hit critical, and you'd type in the name you want to change to, and hit it. When it hits us and it says critical, you're going to get priority. Remember, folks, when John, my business partner, died, we were in the change over to the new trust that for him and his family, and he passed away before he got his trust notarized, and therefore there was no successor trustee. And that has been a real bugaboo for me for over a year, getting all of his estate settled. We don't want that. So be sure that your successor trustees are alive and well and in your trust, because if they're not, you're going to have a heck of a challenge trying to get your estate settled.
Mm-hmm.
So
unfortunately,
that's reitrustApp.com, folks.
Okay, thank you, Tim. All right, Sandy, you have any other questions?
Is it correct that the auto, the real estate are not going to need EIN numbers? The management trust, does it need an EIN number?
The management trust does. Yeah. Go ahead, Jim.
Go ahead, Carol. Go ahead.
Well, the management trust does need an EIN because that is the one that's going to be controlling the money, as Jim mentioned. However, I mean, think about your house and your car now. Do they have their own account numbers? Houses and cars don't need bank accounts. Houses and cars don't. They have tax returns. So the management trust is the one that's going to have the EIN. It's going to control all the money and all those issues for those different entities.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Okay, Collis and McKinley, how are you today?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Pretty good. What's on your mind?
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about the podcast. How do I don't know what a podcast is, so explain it to me, please.
Oh, okay. I never thought about that. Sorry. Okay, a podcast is just an audio recording. It's just two people talking, and it's usually going to be 30 minutes long. It can be it'll be an audio that you can actually listen to even on YouTube. But I don't suggest it, but it's just a recording. You can just push the button, and it'll start playing over the speaker on your computer. It's just a recording. It's just an audio recording, and it has its own embedded player in the website. So you just go find the podcast, you push play, and you listen to it. You can stop it, pause it, back it up, go forward quicker if you want. I listened to for example, I listened to a guy on, his name is Dave, nice guy. Actually, I spoke to him not too long ago on the phone. But he does X22. But Dave talks about this fast. And I just can't handle that. My mind goes way too fast. So on the YouTube buttons, I'm just going to pull one up. I'm not going to start. I'm just going to pull it up real quick. And so I can give you the actual look at the button. I'll mute it. And that was his music in the background. There's a gear in the bottom right-hand side of all YouTube videos. If you click on that gear, you hit playback speed. Your choices are 25% of normal speed up to 2 times normal speed. So when I listen to Dave, I'm at 1.75 because I just don't have time for that short, for that type of a conversation. Let's just get to the facts. It's kind of like Dragnet. Just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. And, boy, is that dating me.
Yeah, really.
So, I know. So it'll be a little screen that'll pop up that you can forward it quicker. You can skip forward. You can skip backwards. You can pause. You can replay it time and time and time and time again. Does that kind of help you out, McKinley?
To a degree. But to get to, you got to turn the computer on, and then you go to YouTube?
No, you go to our website. I'm just saying YouTube could play. You go to our website.
Okay, so, and then...
You log in, and you'll see at the top, and it's not there now, but in the top, in a few days, there'll be a menu that'll say podcast.
Okay.
And backing up just a second, back into my site. Yeah. So right now it just says home, blog, why trust operation, a list of documents, a list of minutes, legal cases, tools, disclaimer, source, resources, conference calls, management trust, new, and then it'll say videos, our videos, and it'll say podcast, our podcast.
Okay.
So they'll be up there in the menu. So the website is probably going to change. It'll look a little bit different when we get done. I'm going to change into a different theme. It'll be a more, instead of an entertaining theme, it's more of an industrial theme because you're only here for the information. You're not here to be entertained.
Right.
So we don't need all this flash and crash stuff. So,
okay,
yeah, so it'll be simple.
Another question. Each trust has to, like my trust I have now goes through, I think it's Vancouver, Washington is where the paperwork is housed.
Yep.
Okay, so each edition, that's where it's what?
Domiciled.
Domiciled, yes, that's the word. Okay, so I got to get like maybe 4 more trusts. So each one of those trusts will have to go through the same process of being domiciled someplace else.
Absolutely. And, you know, you get up to 5 boxes, 5 trusts in each box. So it's not like you have to have, you know, it's not going to cost you any more money, really. You don't need probably more than 5. If you do, well, it's called negotiate. They'll actually add more. You know, think this through with me, folks. You're not going to get any mail unless it's from somebody like the IRS to that box, but you have to have an address to show your domicile is in a state like Washington that only pays sales tax and not income tax. I even have mine there. So if you have your trust there and you're not getting any mail, who's going to know how many trusts you have there? Now, I'm not saying you want to, you know, do something that's illegal or unlawful or immoral against the people that are selling you the box. I will tell you this. When I contacted them recently and I said, I've got more trusts now, they said, okay, that's fine. No biggie. We're not getting anything from me anyway. It's virtual. Just add as many as you need. You know, pretty much what they said. But I called them and asked them. Yep. I called them and told them, actually didn't ask, I told them I had a couple more trusts on that address. They didn't care.
Okay.
So as long as you don't start receiving a bunch of mail there. So don't ever tell anybody about that domicile address for anything other than just the trust, because otherwise you start getting junk mail. They're going to start charging you.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Well, that's
now okay. Now in the formatting of the trust, you got the mother lode where all your funds are. And are we still going to use a secondary trust as well as a management trust, one of the other, or both as a funding?
Well, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Here's how I do it. Okay, I have my I have my mother lode trust. It's not on any screen that any banker will ever see. Only place that comes up on a screen is going to be at my wealth manager's office. I won't even be able to see it on the internet. I'll go to my wealth manager and I'll make my changes there. My business trust, my primary business trust, is already there. I've been using it for 5 years. So I'm using it already. I have a real estate trust set up. I have multiple car trusts set up, and I do have cars in them. And I have a management trust, which is the trust I already have set up at Wells Fargo. So I converted my existing trust to be a management trust by simply adding specific nomenclature in the trust modification and adding the contracts to the mother lode trust. So I have the mother lode trust. I have a business trust which is been converted to a management trust because that's what it's going to be here shortly. And then I've got my real estate trust attached to my management trust, which is there's no real estate in it. And I have 4 car trusts that are all associated with my management trust. None of the 4 car trusts have an EI number.
Right.
And that's how mine is set up.
Okay. Now, with what you've given me of how yours is, you didn't say anything about a secondary trust, so it's not necessary?
Well, you're going to need a business trust of some type, right? Okay. Let's think this through. I have multiple businesses I run through one of my trusts, which is now I'm just converting it because it's already got a bank account into a management trust. And then I have another business trust that I will start. It's already printed, ready to go. I'll go open an account for that because that'll take over all of my business. Because right now, my standard business trust is paying the bills for my cars, so why not just convert that one? Then I'll have my regular business trust. That'll be my secondary trust that I'll manage all of my affairs through. So I will have the, as I explained before, last couple times, you'll have your mother lode trust, a business trust, a management trust, a real estate trust, an automobile trust, maybe a charitable trust. So that's the system I will eventually have. I'm just in the middle of moving it around right now. So that's what you need. Your business trust, your secondary trust, is going to be your business trust. That's what's going to be doing all of it.
Yeah. You use different language on me, so it confuses me.
Well, when we were talking about the secondary trust, we were talking about getting away from the mother lode trust. You have a secondary trust. You don't want it, and we called it that, and probably by mistake. Obviously, now that thinking back, it was, but you have your mother lode trust. You have to have a secondary trust, or now the business trust to conduct all of your daily affairs. Carol and I have been doing this for years. Remember, these trusts are based on the Massachusetts business trust. They're set up for business. They're set up to have bank accounts. They're set up to manage. They're set up for different entities. Remember, you can actually have a president, vice president, secretary, and a treasurer for the trust. It's in the trust. It says right in the trust, you can have these people. So I have multiple titles. I have trustee and not as otherwise. I have executive trustee and not as otherwise. I have my name as president. I have all those titles. And the one I use the most is if I'm talking to somebody that I don't know, well, hey, I'm the president of my company. They don't know it's a trust.
That's right.
So
and they don't need to.
No, and it's called hiding in plain sight.
In plain sight.
Hiding in plain sight. You're right there in front of them, and they have no idea what you've got.
Okay. I'm new as a newborn baby when it comes to a trust. So I'm just trying to get the basics down. Once I get the basics down, then I can branch out. That's why I'm using certain language. That's the language I've read, and so I'm bringing it back to you.
Well,
because
the language. Okay, let's just say this: the secondary trust is also your business trust. Because when we talked about this, we realized this is back when we wrote that. This is back when we found out from the banks and from our supposed guru sources, with air quotes, guru sources, that you had to have a trust. Well, we didn't want our main trust out, the one we use for business. We want to hide it. So that's when we came up with the mother lode trust. And then we called the other trust a secondary trust, because at the time you only needed two trusts. You needed a standard business trust to start doing your business, but you need that mother lode trust hidden away with a massive amount of money in it that you can feed your business trust from. That's how that happened. At least I think that's how it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah, I was just trying to protect the mother lode so that I'm very rarely ever taking any money out of it once it funds all the necessary trust underneath to fund the other trust, the real estate trust, the automobile trust, and whatever other trust necessary, so that I don't have business continuously going to the mother lode trust or exposing it to the outside world.
Exactly. That's why you set up with the wealth managers and the bankers said, this is not for testing purposes. It's not for visual purposes of anybody else. I don't want not any of the tellers to see this. Now, can you think about this for a minute, folks? If you got, a gazillion dollars, I love that word, gazillion dollars in your mother lode trust, do you want any of those tellers to see that? Because what is the first thing they're going to do? They're going to go home and tell their family, God, this guy's got $1.5 billion in his bank account, And then it gets out that, okay.
Then you're going to have to move to a new community.
Yep. You have to relocate and change your name.
You got to move.
That's it.
Okay.
Go into the witness protection system.
There you go.
That's worse.
Did that answer your questions, McKinley?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Okay, so this is either Jerry or Norma.
Good morning, Carol and Jim.
Good morning.
It's both of
Norma.
us.
Okay.
Okay.
How are you guys?
Well, he's sitting right here, too. I have a question about the charitable trust. Could you just give us a quick outline or a few comments on how that is used?
Well, it's the same as a regular trust. However, so you've already made up your mind. Okay, I've got X amount of dollars, and I'm going to set aside $10 million just for charitable giving. So you put the $10 million in that trust, and it's all you're going to use that trust for is to give stuff away. You will not be able to solicit funds. It's not a 501c3. You not be able to solicit funds, or you won't be able to give out tax receipts. But you won't need to do either because it's all your money to begin with.
Okay. All right. I guess that pretty well. Do you have a question?
Okay, that money is going to come right out of your management trust into your charitable trust?
It should come out of your mother load to begin with. Your mother load is going to fund
I
that
see.
one.
Good. Okay.
All right.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. Y'all have a great day.
You're welcome. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Hey, Norma, when you get a chance, give me a call. You got my number.
Okay, she's off now, but I'm sure she heard you. Okay, Una, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Oh, hanging in there like everybody else.
I know, just hanging, right? Anyway,
Yeah,
I was really trying to get an understanding of what Jim was saying regarding this, because I have two trusts. So one I would use as a mother load, right? And then the other one I would use as the management trust, right? But how do I put funds in the management trust, or am I siphoning from the mother load?
Your mother load trust is going to fund every other trust that you have.
Right.
So it could be this one that you already have, or any additional ones that you set up later. The mother load will fund those.
Okay. So if I'm going to do, that means I'll need to do other trusts, for example, for the house and automobile or whatever it is. And then do I put funds in that, or just get it from the mother load as well?
Well, let's go back to what Jim's been talking about with the management trust. So what you're going to do is fund the management trust. The management trust is going to purchase your home in the name of another trust. Is that right, Jim?
Yep, that's how it works.
Yep.
Okay, so I would change I'm not planning to buy a house, really. I'm just planning to pay off the mortgage. So what I would do is put the house in a trust, right?
Yeah.
In a real estate trust.
In a real estate. So I heard you talking about some app. You're going to do an app or something like that?
Oh, we have it. 3i Trust app is done. You go there and you can order any one of the trusts we own, and also make comments, and also there's change orders there and instructions how to get on the main website and all that. It's all there. 3i. Let me tell you what it is. The number 3. The number 3. The letter I. The word trust, TRUST, and then app, APP.com. 3i Trust app.com. You can go right to the main website indicator, scroll down on the main page without even logging in, and you'll go down to where it says how much a trust costs, and right below that it says if you want to buy a trust, go to 3i Trust app. It's big, blue, it's tall, you won't miss it. 3iTrustApp.com, and everything is there.
Okay. So then I can get my real estate trust and whatever trust that I need. Okay.
Yep.
All right. I have a better understanding of it now. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Una. You have a good day.
You too. Take care. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Okay, Jay, how are you doing today?
Hi, how you doing? Just had a question on the real estate trust. You mentioned like not having an EIN, but what if you sell the house, and, for instance, wouldn't you have to put it back in that trust or not? I'm not sure.
Jim, you want to take this one?
I'm not sure I understood the question. Let me just tell you what I do. When you transfer a house into the trust, then you contract the management trust to pay for its maintenance and your utilities and your tax and so on and so forth. When you sell the house, you sell it out of the trust into the private individual that is buying it, or this is a big word here, or you can have the buyer set up a trust, if it's a cash sale especially, and put the amount of the ownership of the house into a trust, and then you guys just change jobs. Now, let me explain to you what happens here. So you have a house in a trust, and it says, we're going to use the easy number, $100,000. It's worth $100,000. I don't know where you'd find worth $100,000. It's $100,000 for example. And then you have the buyer create a trust, one of our trusts, and you put the $100,000. He puts $100,000 in there. Now he's the trustee of $100,000. You're the trustee of a house worth $100,000. All you do is you change jobs. So you become the trustee of the $100,000 trust. He becomes the trustee of the $100,000 house trust. Now, was there a sale? No. Was there an exchange of ownership? No. There was a change of management.
Oh, executive. Yeah, I got you. How would that benefit the other person, though? How would it benefit? Well, I understand how it would benefit me, but if you're selling that idea to somebody, it has to benefit them too. How does it benefit the other entity?
The other entity now has the house in a trust already. They don't have to move it into a trust, and they take over an existing trust. Nobody knows about it. This doesn't have an EI number. There's nothing to change in any place. All you have to do is sever the bank account attachment from your management trust to that house trust. It's now not it's not your job to pay his bills. Then he could do the same thing. It's a way for you to do this, and it's beneficial because sometimes there's capital gains tax involved. But if there's a simple change of management, not of ownership, there's no capital gains tax. Right. This has been done by the wealthy for years and years and years and years. I've done it a couple times. In fact, we did a big one, a $5 million deal a few years ago, not that long, 5 years ago, for one of my clients. And it worked out real well for everybody.
Yeah, but what if you couldn't do that? But I'm curious, where would the money go if you sold the house and you couldn't do this trust-to-trust kind of deal? Like, where would the money go? Would it have to go back into the real estate trust, though? Or would it?
Yeah, you just leave it in a real estate trust, but it would go to the management trust because the contract between the real estate trust and the management trust is to manage all of the money for the house. So it would go in the management trust in an account that you either dedicated by a spreadsheet or dedicated at the bank for the house, and then you would use that money to go buy another house.
Gotcha. But let me ask you this: if you wanted to do a real estate business, buy and sell houses fairly readily, would you do that with a trust or an LLC within the trust, or how would you recommend doing something like that?
Well, with this day and age and all the liabilities involved, I would probably use a trust. I'm living in a neighborhood here where my neighbor just tried to sell his house, and the state stopped the sale. I just found out yesterday because he has an issue with mold in the basement. So, so now all of a sudden there's a legal issue. Well, if it's in a trust and he's not the owner of the house, the trust is the owner, the trust is responsible, not him. Well, he's now technically responsible because it is not in a trust. So he has that issue he has to deal with personally. If it's in a trust, the trust is liable. But they may try and drag you into it because you put the house in a trust. But if there was no mold at the time, then it's just simply a matter of remediation of the mold, and the trust would pay for it, and away you go. It's not a big deal. Yeah, so there's a lot of things you have to look at.
Oh, yeah. A lot of places require that test before the sale, so maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But so basically you feel a trust is a good mechanism, container for buying and selling real estate in general, though, is that correct? Or
Yeah, you can move a house in and out of a trust. You can have one trust, or say you set up 5 trusts. You want to have 5 houses at a time. Set up 5 trusts, 5 real estate trusts. Move in and move them out. Move them in, move them out. Move them in, move them out. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But while they're in your trust, you have some indemnification. Now, again, I said this a couple other times, but I don't know if you know this, and I'm going to say it out loud here just for everybody else, even if you do know. If you are running a home-based business, your homeowner's policy is not going to cover an injury if somebody is on your property doing business. You have to have a rider on your home insurance saying you have a small business. I just have a friend went through this. Have a small business, you're running a small business. It may cost you $20, $25 more a month, but they'll cover everything. I have that rider on my renter's policy because I don't own the house I'm in right now. I have a renter's insurance, and I have that also business rider on there. It only cost me, I think, $38 total for the two riders a month. And it's right through State Farm. That's where my cars are insured.
Yeah, sounds smart to me. Why not?
Well, yeah, it's cheap insurance.
Yep.
Yeah, really.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Jay.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Linda, you've been waiting patiently.
Hi, how are you? Talking about the real estate trust. Good. Now, the person that sold the house from the real estate, you said they changed names, positions. Okay, once that deal is done and that house is on that real estate under your trust, do you still use that trust again, or do that trust go away, or what?
Okay, we got to get back on the same page. So, Linda, here's how it works. The house is in a trust, and some guy puts the money in another trust. Okay, you become the trustee of the money. He becomes the trustee of the house. You no longer are affiliated with that trust. He gets the trust, the house, the whole 9 yards. So it's out of your jurisdiction, out of your venue. It's completely away from you. You'll never see that again. So now if you want to do another one, you got to start another real estate trust. They're not that expensive. You can do that. Get another real estate trust. So that's how that scenario works. Now, if you have a house in a trust, you want to sell it to Joe Blow down the street, he wants to buy the house, you just transfer the trust, you as a trustee for the trust, transfer the ownership at the signing to closing to the individual. Now you have a blank, empty trust. Now you can put another house in that trust. Make sense?
Okay. Yes, I got it. Okay. Next question. On the website, can you say it slowly so I can get the whole? Can you just repeat it slowly?
Well, which was that? The indicator information or the 3I trust?
The information to get into the website.
Okay. It's indicator, 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 then the word, no space, the word information.com.
Okay, got
Linda, have you ever signed on to the website? Did you ever get a password for it?
No. I have to sign on to get one.
Okay, so send either Jim or myself an email, and we'll get you hooked up, okay?
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Anything else?
That brings up something else I want to talk about. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. This week again, I got a call from somebody saying, I need to get in the website. But they sent the email to Jim, the indicatorinformation.com, and they had on their list also some other trust company.
Yeah.
There's been about 4 times where somebody's bought. There's another company out there. I'm not going to give them credit. Another company out there, and another guy working there. His name is Jim, and they sell trusts. And so we've had 4 people now that got hold of us and says, "Will you never send me the how to get in the website?" And then we started asking, "Well, what's your trust name?" And they give it it's not in our database at all. And come to find out, they've confused us with the other company, and they want to get it because they love our calls. They want to get in and see our website, thinking they bought the trust from us.
And
they didn't.
Yeah, didn't you say somebody just got mad at you because you told them you weren't that company?
Yeah, about 3 days ago, they were just yelling at me, And they said, "Well, you're Jim. You're at work for that blank blank company, the name." And I said, "No, I don't. No, wrong company. They're mad." But we've had a couple people recently that sent us, "Well, you need to send me the information so I can log in." And when we discovered that they had bought another company, they were embarrassed, never called back. And we never heard any more from them, but be sure you're dealing with the right company.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Linda, like I said, you can send either Jim or myself an email, and we'll get you hooked up, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. Bye. Raul, you're next.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Raul. Hi.
Hey, I have some questions here. I'm trying to get myself out of the weeds. I do have a mother lode trust and a management trust. And I think the way that you guys are talking about these things is that the secondary business trust is the management trust, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say the RV happens and I walk into Wells Fargo. I take both trusts in there and ask to speak to the bank manager that's going to know how much money I have and no teller. Is that what I hear from you guys?
No. When you go into the exchange, you're going to take your mother lode trust in. It's the only trust you need to take with you. Just take the mother lode trust. Mm-hmm. You're going to open the account for you. You're going to exchange your currency and redeem your bonds into that account. That's all you do. Then they're going to ask you to leave, and then they will set up an appointment with your wealth managers. And then when you go to your wealth manager, you'll bring the rest of your trust and link them all together.
I got
you. The wealth manager then will work with you to get the account set up to where it's not used for training purposes, not disclosed to the public, and removed from all teller screens.
Okay. I got it.
I would imagine within a week of the exchange that you'll see your wealth managers.
Okay. And if I buy more trusts from indicator information or the 3I thing, let's say I buy a real estate trust or car trust, it'll come with a management agreement to the management trust, correct?
Correct. You just make sure that when you fill out the app for the real estate trust, the vehicle trust, that you have either depends on how you've got it set up. So it would either be the mother lode trust. I doubt it'll be contracted to that, but that would be funding it. But then you would also have a contract between the real estate trust and the management trust. That's pretty much what we're really concerned with. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
So then when you have that management trust, it'll contract. So you can put the money in the management trust into a separate account for the real estate if you want, or into the automobile bank account through the management trust.
Well,
I
don't want to make
it
complicated.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
I have one. That's my point. I have one account, and I keep a spreadsheet, so I know what went where.
Yeah, with only one IED number, so that you don't have all kinds of IED numbers. I have another question. Before you guys add more stuff to the website, there's a lot of stuff there already, and I came across 2 items here. Do I want to add all rights reserved without prejudice? I looked it up, and I got confused as to what it meant. But for us in particular, what does it mean for us to either choose to have it or not to have it?
Well, what you're trying to tell people when you do that is say that you cannot commingle me with any other entity, nor with any laws that is not inside this contract. Remember, the trust is a contract. And it's cast in trust form, so you can use it monetarily. That's not the word I want. But anyway, you get the general idea. So I don't use that anymore. It draws way too much attention, or draws way too much attention. I just put my name, comma, trustee or executive trustee, whichever I may want to use, and not as otherwise. That's a limiter. It limits what they can do. They can come after me only as a trustee. They can't come after me personally because I signed it as trustee and not as otherwise. Now if you start putting UCC 1-207 without prejudice, now anybody sees that, here's the right-wing wacko, and I'm going to deal with this guy. So we just got rid of that idea by coming up with a simple verbiage that I've been using now for 6-7 years, and it's served me well.
Okay. So here's one last question. As I read the website, it says, know if you will allow your currency to leave your site, under what circumstances. So is our currency going to leave our site? Is that the potential happening that might occur, or what's the deal with that question?
Well, we don't know. Nobody's been there yet. But what if they take it into another room to count it and you can't see it? That makes me nervous.
And they come back and they tell you this is counterfeit or whatever. If they're supposed to be verifying it in front of us, so we never lose sight of our currency until we start talking about rates.
Okay. Besides, like when I buy my currency, I always get a certificate of authentication with my purchases.
Most of us have.
Okay.
But it just
okay. Well, thanks for explaining it. Now I'm out of the weeds, and I'll just. By the way, one last question: when this RV happens, you guys are going to take off for a month or two. Will you still be adding? Okay. Will you still be having the Saturday meetings every month?
I don't know yet. It depends on.
Yet to be decided. Yeah.
Well, let me answer a little bit more. There's so many things right now going on in Carol's life and my life, health-wise and otherwise. We don't know exactly what the future is going to bring for us. We still want to be in communication. We still want to work with everybody. That's why we're doing the podcasting and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be doing quite a bit of traveling. I need to get out on the road, and I can probably do everything I want to do. But within 6 months, I am not going to participate. I just don't want to. I want to. I've been doing it since 1979, off and on. It's time to move on. I have some goals and some things I need to accomplish before my timely demise. So,
okay.
I always say.
Well, thank you very much.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. You too. Robert, area code 909.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. What can we do for you?
Okay, great. This is our first-time caller. I am up in arms as far as not understanding trusts and the different kind of trusts. But I get that you guys are more, the ones that zoom it in for us a little bit more than anyone else. My question was, what's a natural, but you answered that in the beginning, a natural trust.
Right. The biggest thing is we use is one that's been around for 200 and some odd years. I mean, it's proven to be the one that works the best. And then we had an issue where a gentleman wanted to use this, and the IRS fought him. And that's Ed Dahlstrom. And then he ended up taking him to task. He wasn't about to back down. They went all the way to the Ninth Circuit and won against the Internal Revenue Service. The Internal Revenue Service was not happy. So they decided to remand it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court reviewed it and remanded it back to the Ninth, says it is as it stands. That was the end of that. And that happened in 1984. And so Carol and I are really the only two people that can do these things. We're the only ones that have the right.
Are you guys taking in any mentees? I know you guys.
All of our clients really are mentees. So.
I hear you. So, okay, let me get this right. Once, as I call it, the dust settles, I was told because I don't have a trust, because I can't afford one at this time, that I put it in my name, then from my name I transfer it over. Would that be correct?
No.
To a trust?
No.
Okay.
They're going to create something temporary for you at the bank. They'll create a temporary trust. And then you can contact us. And then, but they're party of that trust. You want to get it out of there as fast as possible. So, I want you to send either Carol or me. Hold on a second. My voice. Send either Carol or me an email, and we'll put you on the list because when the when the RV happens, we're not taking new clients. You need to be in our list, and we'll take you on as a client after the fact.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so the best email to reach
Send it to me. It's security.
Hold on 1 minute. I apologize. You know, when you want a pen, you can't find one, but when you don't want one, they're all over the place. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, it's security@indicatorinformation.com. Security@indicatorinformation.com.
DK Tour security@indicator.com.
Information. No, indicatorinformation.com.
Oh, okay.
No space between the two words.
Okay. .com.
Yep. And I'll get you on the list, and I'll send you a confirmation.
All righty. Appreciate it.
It may not be done today, or Tuesday or Wednesday, but I will eventually get it done and put it in my file and send you a confirmation email.
Not a problem at all. Okay. That's pretty much it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Todd, area code 214.
Hi, this is 214.
Hi.
Hey, I got a question concerning the management trust and theft of the property when it's put in a name. You know, when you transfer the property over to a different name, you do that through the title company, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Take you off a speakerphone. Is it possible to put a little quitclaim deed in place in order to prevent unwanted people from doing fraud against that name? The reason I ask is everybody's heard of Glenn Beck, right?
Yeah.
And he had a special with a couple proteges on there that were subscribing to the idea that somebody could actually find the name of the title and transfer that without that individual knowing, and out the property ownership went to a different name. Not overnight, but it happened.
Yep, it's been happening a lot.
If you've got a quit claim, could you help shed some light on how that happens and how to prevent that without having to subscribe to one of Glenn Beck's proteges of $20 a month or something, Jim? What?
Well, I'm not sure I have all of the details, but I'll tell you what I did in the past. I had, and this is a few years ago, I had a Nevada corporation designed just to file liens against the rest of my assets. So what I did is I had a Nevada corporation, and everything that I had, I put a lien against it from that Nevada corporation. And, of course, Nevada corporations at that time were very, very private, not today, but they were then.
That sounds pretty sneaky, but that would help.
It was. It did. It stopped one transaction from going through that was a big transaction. What happens is, you say you have a house that's worth $100,000. Love that example. $100,000. You put $100 million lien against it. Do what?
Go. I'm listening.
Okay. So if the house is worth $100,000, you put a lien against it for $120,000. So here's what happens. If somebody's going to sue you, the first thing to do is going to hire an agency to go out and see what you have, everything in your name. They see you have this house worth $100,000. They also see a lien for $120,000 against the house. Now, are you a candidate for a lawsuit? I don't think so. Same with somebody trying to steal the title to your house. If you've got a lien on it and you control the lien, you're the lien holder, you control the lien, you'll be notified that there's somebody messing with your real estate. I think that will work. I haven't proven it yet, but that's what I used to do. It worked for me in the past. I don't see why that wouldn't work now, because the lien holder has to be notified if there's a transfer of ownership.
Right. And the lien holder is...
Well, is a lien on real estate similar to a quit deed?
No.
Okay.
Quit claim is when you can move the property. Got to get my terms right here. You move the property without going through the process of court. In other words, if I was to quit claim my house to Carol, it's just a private transaction.
Do you file that at the title company that there's a quit claim?
No, you don't have to. It depends if you're going to have a title company. I mean, it's a quit claim. You don't have to have a title company. You have to register the quit claim with the county that you're in, so they know that house is no longer in your name.
Okay.
Now, that's how I understand it. Now, I'm talking again from my experience. I'm not licensed to give you advice. I'm talking about what I did and how I do things, and they work for me.
Well, I guess that's all I got for you guys. I was just wondering if a management trust could put quit claim in there. But
no,
the lien seems like a pretty good idea, too, separate from what I was thinking.
Exactly. And you can use a trust to do that.
Well, elaborate, please, if you will. Thank you.
Let's say that you have a trust. You have a management trust, and you have a real estate trust, and it's got a contract to pay all the bills. The management trust got a contract to pay all the bills. Well, it can always file a lien against the house to make sure it continues to pay the money so it can pay it. So there's various reasons to have that. You could do that, or you could set up a secondary trust. You could have, your business trust. Since your business trust is actually operating your whole life, you could have the business trust put a lien against it.
Yeah, worldwide's the only way to operate.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. That's me.
Yeah, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
There you go.
If you're not worldwide, not me.
That's right. All right, anything else?
Thanks, Jim.
All right.
No, appreciate all you and Carol's time and business out here. The website's doing great. So the address stays the same. Just keep logging in, and y'all keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much, Todd. Okay, Jim, we got a few more. You ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Norma, again. Norma?
Hey, Carol.
Hey. Oh. Do you have another question?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you said somebody else's name. I'm just following up with Jim right quick. I was hanging up about the Charitable Trust. He's probably forgotten what he wanted to say by now, but the recording overrode his voice, and I didn't hear what he was saying to me.
No, I was saying give me a call later today. I need to talk to you.
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay. Area code 323.
Good morning, Carol. Good morning, Jim. This is Charlene.
Hi.
Hello. I'm so glad I was able to call in today because I know why I was so confused the last time I was on, because I have the business trust and I can't recall the other trust. Remember a long time ago when we first started getting trust? About 5 years ago it was. So now do I have to have a reverbiage on my mother-lode trust or business trust? I'm trying to understand that.
I didn't get all that, Carol.
You've got your mother-lode trust, and you have a secondary trust. Yes.
Right. It wasn't called that, or was it? And I misunderstood. So
I don't think it was called that specifically. I mean,
no.
We've always sold the first trust as the mother-lode trust.
Okay. Right. And then I have the business trust.
Yes.
So do I have to do anything with those? Any changes with those trusts?
I don't think so. But why don't you drop me an email and we'll go through it? Okay.
Okay, I'll do that. And my other question is, because I'm a little confused, but that's okay. On the charitable trust, I understood you to say, Jim, to say X amount of dollars that you allocate from your mother-lode trust and put it in your charitable trust, correct?
Yes, that's the way I've always defined it.
But I understood him to say that there wasn't a 501c3 with that trust, charitable trust?
No, it is not a 501c3. It's just a trust.
Okay, so thank you, son. So therefore, you don't get any compensation at the end of the year for charity.
No. You can, but you have to qualify. You can, but you have to qualify the trust with the Internal Revenue Service. So getting a 503 designation, you can get that for anything: a trust, a corporation, LLC. It's simply notifying the Internal Revenue Service that you would like to make that election to be qualified as a 50C3 or a 508 or 509. The various ones are out there. Then you got to go through the application process. They have to query you. Multiple phone calls, multiple email or letters back and forth until they finally agree to grant you the status of a nonprofit according to the Internal Revenue Service. Then you can get the tax benefits. Otherwise, my charity that I'm saying, my charity, I don't care about the tax benefits. I just want to be able to give money to people and pay for things for people that need it right then and there.
Exactly. I think that's where most of us are, I believe.
Right, I agree. I just was under the understanding that with the charitable trust that you had to allocate 5% or whatever it is monies to the. I might be twisting this up to the charitable trust every year or however you signed it up. But I wouldn't want to have to do that. I would like to put X amount of dollars in my trust fund, and then I would like to send a check to whomever or whatever entity needed that money, and I don't care about the tax either right off. So that's the way I could do that. Oh, that's so much easier. So much easier because
that's the way to do it.
That way you're truly giving, right?
Exactly. It's not there's not a hook there to stimulate your giving.
Right. I like that. Now, do we have in all the trusts that you and Carol offer, I didn't hear family trust.
I don't even know what a family trust is.
A family trust is a whole different designation, and they're typically statutory trusts. We don't have. It's not necessary because our trusts rely on successor trustees. The same trust can stay in your family literally for generations to come. A family trust is going to say, when I die, my wife's going to take over. My wife's going to get a new trust, and my two sons are going to get two trusts. And then it really designates who's going to get how much money or whatever. When it's not at all necessary to what we do.
Well, what about trust foundation? Just asking.
I don't understand. I don't understand trust foundation.
I haven't read up on it like I should have, so that's why I was asking the question if this would be something that obviously not. Okay.
Well, here's what I'd recommend.
Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, here's what I'd recommend. Keep those questions in mind, and when you go talk to your wealth managers, I would talk to them about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you're going to have wealth managers after you have the RV. They're going to be the ones going to help set things up. They're the ones I think you should talk to about this because I'm going to talk to them about the same thing. I'm going to ask the same questions. I run my life a little bit different than most. Been very successful, and I don't really plan on changing a lot of what I'm doing, but I will listen to other people. Maybe I can use something that they have, a gem or, some little tidbit of information that I can add to what I'm already doing, but I'm always going to ask.
Okay. All right. That's very reasonable. Let me think. Carol and Jim, I haven't neglected yet to change my domicile. It sounds sad, but I'm just recovering from knee surgery, and I'm just not too happy about anything. But so I email you again about that, the domicile, and where do I domicile?
Just send me an email, info and indicator information, and I'll send you what you need to know.
And also for the website, I'll do the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not that literate with my computer. Can I use my telephone for that? For the website, will that be able to?
If you can get online, you should be able to. Yeah.
If you put RoboForm on your telephone, it'll be a lot simpler. RoboForm will keep track of all of your usernames and passwords because the password is going to be pretty strong. So you may want to add RoboForm to your phone, and that's a program that will hold all of those. You can go to the internet and look at RoboForm. It's really a cool program. I've been using it for years.
RoboForm to add to phone. Okay, because I don't even know what you're talking about. Different things that you're talking about, even with the computer. So, okay, so Robo. I have to add that to, and that'll take. I think my son-in-law can do all of that to help me with that. I need to do it myself.
Yeah, sure. Just send me the email, and I'll make sure we give you all that information.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so very much. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, Jim, it's 1:30. We have 3 more callers, one of whom is brand new. 2 have already asked the question. What do you want to do?
Let's go. Let's keep going with them.
All right. William, area code 240.
Hey, Carol and Jim, how you guys doing?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Good. Now, you guys may have already answered my question, but I think I need just a little bit clarification. Now, I understand that a management or contract management trust or real estate, auto, and charitable trust are paid by the management trust, or payments are made on those particular trusts by the management trust. And I understand that the business trust conducts your daily affairs. Now, I have 2 trusts. One I was going to use as the mother lode, and the other one, when I first started this, I started this with the contract business trust, and I converted that to contract trust in the language of the trust. So should a secondary trust that I have be used as a business trust or management trust? And I'm trying to understand that relationship as far as the hierarchy, like Jim was mentioning when he was going through his hierarchy.
Well, the hierarchy is the mother lode trust has the money. That's the queen, the king, whatever. That's the top dog. Right. And then you're going to disperse funds to your various trusts to buy cars, planes, trains, boats, houses, whatever you're going to buy. But the issue is the real estate trust and the automobile trust do not need an EI number, therefore they can't get a bank account. So they contract to a management trust to manage all their funds. So then your mother lode trust pays to the real estate trust to buy the house, but pays it to the management trust by contract, because a contract between the real estate trust and management trust has precedent. So it's going to pay from the mother lode trust directly to the management trust to comply with the contract that the real estate trust has, because the real estate trust is directly connected to well, I shouldn't say directly. The real estate trust is receiving the funds from the mother lode trust. So you have to have those little pieces of the puzzle put in there.
Right, and I understand that. So now what I'm trying to make sure that I understand, because let's just say I want to do a restaurant. That would be the business trust, or what's the relationship between the business and the management in reference to that?
That would be a separate business trust, in my opinion. And the mother lode could fund a separate business trust to go buy and set up the restaurant. It'd have its own checking account. It should be a separate entity. Anything where you're doing a business like that, you want that to be a separate entity.
Got you. Okay.
Remember, we're trying to protect. We're trying to protect. That's why we have separate trusts. That's why we have these different contracts. We have different agreements. We have liens that we put on other from one trust to another trust to protect our property. It's for the protection.
Okay.
That's why.
So now let's just say hypothetically I didn't decide to do that. Would I need to convert my secondary trust to a management trust to do the real estate and so forth? Because I think you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, you'd have to do that. You would have to change the trust, some stuff in the trust, and you have to add contracts and so on and so forth. It's a little bit of work, but it's not, we can figure out.
Okay, but that's not out yet, you said, I think.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I spoke over you. Try it again.
Yeah, so you said you don't have that out there on the website yet?
No, we don't. We just there's a lot to changing things around. And whenever we get into where we're changing things, it creates bugaboos because most people aren't knowledgeable in writing contracts, they're not knowledgeable in this, knowledgeable in that when it comes to this type of work. And so that's why we created a separate, entirely separate trust, because people kept making errors, and then we'd have to go through and fix everything, and it just become difficult.
Right, and I understand. Okay, well, that pretty much answers my questions. But if I'm going to do follow on, if I'm doing real estate, auto, charitable, I'm going to need a management trust between my mother lode and those other trusts. And it's probably the same thing, well, with a business trust, that would be separate. If I was to do a restaurant, that would somewhat be separate managing, or would I still need a management trust even for that, or would it be the same management trust managing that restaurant?
No, you'd use your existing, let's say that you're going to call your restaurant trust the restaurant trust for simplification. So the restaurant trust would have its own EI number and have its own bank account. You want to separate everything out of that. And then on top of that, you probably want a real estate trust to hold the physical building. If you're going to buy the building, would be in a real estate trust. Then if you had delivery vehicles, they need to be in vehicle trusts.
Okay. You want to separate everything as much as possible.
And on top of that, you may want to create another trust to hire, train employees, and then lease the employees from that trust to your restaurant trust. That way all the taxes and everything are paid from the other trust away from the restaurant. And they don't technically work for the restaurant. They work for the we'll call it the restaurant employee trust. They don't work for the restaurant. They're leased to the restaurant. So if there's any issues, the restaurant really can't get sued directly because that individual doesn't work for you. They're leased to you.
Okay.
See, you can stack these things like you can't believe. I mean, if I was to sit down and tell you folks some of the stuff I've done, you'd be shocked. I mean, I've been doing this.
Yeah.
What's that?
Very creative building, should we say?
Yes. So one last question on that, and that is, if I'm doing the mother lode to the management to the real estate, or to the business to the management to the real estate of the restaurant per se, I still use pass-through accounts, or I have to use cashier's checks from the mother lode to these other trusts?
You pay the way you want to pay it.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, that's entirely up to you.
Okay. All right. I think that clears everything up for me. I appreciate you guys, really. That cleared it up, and
thank you.
Me, set it up.
All right. Perfect.
Right. Thank you. Okay. And we've got 2 more.
Okay.
And that's it. McKinley, something else on your mind?
Yes, one thing. With the other trust that I'm going to put in place, can I use the same creator, or do I have to have a different one?
No, you can use the same creator. Not a problem.
Same one. Okay. That's all I needed. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
And Robert, you had another question?
Yes. Hello, you guys. This is Robert. I was calling about I'd already asked my question earlier, but I wanted to know more about the mentoring thing, so that way I can know exactly how to, make some moves inside the trust as far as mentoring.
I said technically all of our clients are mentees. So go ahead, Jim. Go ahead.
I would say that's one of the reasons why I put this podcast together, because you can sit back and listen to the podcast 10, 15 times. You finally get all the details into your head. The mentoring program, everybody that works with us is going through this growth, and we're trying our darndest to try and get the information out there. We understand the difficulty of learning some of this stuff. It's not common. I mean, I just hired a young guy just out of high school. I've known him since he was 3 years old, and he's an A student and graduated with honors, the whole 9 yards. And we've been going through this stuff. I've been training him. I've been sharing things with him. I said, did you learn any of this stuff in high school? He says, no. We don't even have an idea how to even write a check. They don't teach any of that stuff. So the mentoring process, we got to make it simple. We got to do it, and people learn multiple ways. Some personalized learn by reading. Some personalized learn by listening. Some personalities learn by doing. So we've got the writing, the listening down, and then now we teach you how to do the doing. That's why I'm trying to put the podcast together, because some people learn better by listening. I'm that type of guy. I learned a lot of my stuff by just sitting and listening. And now that we have YouTube, I spend probably, without exaggeration, folks, I spend probably 2 to 2.5 hours a day listening to different people. I'll give you an example who I listen to, just so you get an idea. Robert Kiyosaki, R.J. Hamilton, N.M. Ward, X22. I listen to, I got other ones here. I got to go down to get them. But I listen to those primarily. I listen to, I'm trying to find it here, Destroying the Illusion on YouTube. I listen to The Right Scoop. I listen to, the alternative news. And what I try and do is spend at least an hour and a half a day reviewing, not necessarily learning, but reviewing something I didn't already know. And, Robert Kiyosaki's got 1,000 videos out there. I mean, I was just on R.J. Hamilton's, and I think he's got over 200. And X22 today, so I have to stop this and make some noise here. No, X22. Let me mute everything so it doesn't make a bunch of noise. He's up to 2,244 videos. Now, I'm looking at 2244B. There's a 2244A. There's 2 videos a day. That's 4,488 videos this guy's done.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he's top dog. So that's why we're doing this. We're trying to get a well-rounded approach to teaching and for you guys learning.
Okay.
You got to feed the brain, dude. You got to feed the brain.
Absolutely. I definitely believe that. What specifically is the last person's subject that he speaks about that you mentioned?
R.J. Hamilton or X22?
R.J., I believe it was.
Okay, R.J. Hamilton, he's a mentor. It says personal stories, journey updates, and business advice. He's got one that is War Coming? He talks about 1984 versus the New Brave World. He talks about, the stock market. He talks about gold. He talks about silver, money in the Fed, fraud and suicide. He talks about Entrepreneurs TV, first quarter events and updates. He does Entrepreneur TV is basically what his site is. Now, 5 key things to success in business. He talks about how to thrive tough times in wealth. It just goes on and on and on. It's just great.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, I'm a learner by heart. It's just finding the right person or, subject as far as when it comes to trust, because there's so much stuff out there. Some are just, babbling, and then some are, knowledgeable. Is there any references that you have that you say, hey, I learned about some of the trust or, anything about trust?
Well, I'm going to say this. No. I have looked around there, and I have found a few people that think they know what you're talking about. But when I get in listening to this stuff, I find out they're mostly talking about a statutory event. They're talking about a statutory entity. They're talking about statutory laws. And, we're not under that.
Correct.
And I don't think anybody has got the material we have.
Correct. And you would be correct because I've done my research. And that's why, I'm excited about the podcast. I am, and I'm ready for it. It's just, I'm a teacher by heart. So, once I get the information, I'm able to bring it across right. So that's why it's in my heart to really just saturate in and get the information, and then eventually, pushing it out.
Right. Well, in that note, I'm going to say this one thing for everybody. I want this all in the recording. If you really want a good base on how to run your life, just read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Just his very first book. I mean, maybe the first 3 or 4 books. I mean, the guy, it's amazing what you learn. It's so simple. But it's...
Which one is it?
Sometimes... Pardon me?
What's it called again?
Oh, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's by Robert Kiyosaki. And
Robert
just read the first 2 or 3. Yeah, read this first. He's got it on the video. I mean, I listen to his videos all the time. I got everybody that's being trained to work with us is now listening to Neil McCoy Ward. They're listening to R.J. Hamilton. They're listening to Robert Kiyosaki. They go to F22. We're all trying to be on the same page, and that's why I want them listening to stuff and watching it. Even these little 18-year-olds, they're enthralled with the knowledge from Robert Kiyosaki. I mean, just wow. They just think that's great. So, yeah, I would do that.
Thank you.
Okay, well, you have a great day.
Guys.
Okay, thank you so much, Howard. Good questions.
You're welcome.
Jim, I think that's about it for the day. My goodness, thank you, all of you, for staying with us for an hour and 45 minutes. Obviously, they like what we have to say today, Jim. So you want to go ahead and give your contact information before we close?
Sure. You can contact me at 503-583-6791. I'm at security@indicatorinformation.com. I work Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Now, let me say that that's the hours I answer the damn phone. I work probably 14, 16 hours a day. But those are the hours I will. I don't like taking calls on the weekend. It's not so much I don't want to talk to you. It's just that I'd like to have a couple of days off and let my head shrink back down. It's so large with all the crap I got stuff in it all week long. So that's the thing. Unless I ask you to call me on the weekend, please don't call me on the weekend. All right, Carol, your turn.
All right. Thanks, Jim, for your help as always. And thanks again to all of you for your time and attention. My name is Carol Werelius. My numbers are 425-820-8090 or 877-333-5018. I am available between 10 and 6 Central Time, also Monday through Friday. As you might understand, my time is a little more limited now than it used to be because of my husband. So the best way to reach me always is by email, info, @indicatorinformation.com. So have a happy and safe weekend and go RV. Have a good weekend, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.